And of course, one of the main developments that media is talking about is statements that was made after yesterday's talks between U.S. delegation and the delegation of Zelensky's regime in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And for example, this report from RT is saying that well, U.S. is resuming intelligence and military aid to Ukraine after these talks. No surprises here. Me personally, I was always skeptical that U.S. even stopped sharing intelligence or the supplies of weapons to Kyiv regime, and I had a reason for that. Yesterday's large-scale drone strike on Russia that was committed by Kyiv regime obviously was organized with participation of U.S. Because it's only U.S. that really has capabilities among NATO member states to provide satellite intelligence, flight pathing, targeting data for hundreds and hundreds of drones that formerly Kyiv regime launched to strike deep into Russian territory. If U.S. was sharing intelligence not directly to Kyiv regime but through some third parties, let's say through UK, it does not make no difference for Russia, isn't it? So I believe U.S. leadership was lying while saying that they stop sharing information with the Kyiv regime. And I think they were lying when they were saying that weapons were no longer delivered to Kyiv regime from U.S. It was lie, and now they don't have to lie no more, because yesterday U.S. delegation officially stated that military and intelligence sharing with their military weapons delivery and intelligence sharing will resume. And after that moment, Trump no longer can argue that this is not his war, that this war was started during the previous administration. Now, easy if, by the way, previous administration was acting not on the name of US, but separately, as some sort of corporation. US was involved in this proxy war against Russia from the beginning, and still involved, unfortunately. And it is really sad. It is really sad that well, hopes of many people were destroyed yesterday after this announcement that US is re-engaged in this proxy war and will continue to provide enemies of Russia with weapons and intelligence. Okay. Also, by the way, US and Zelensky's delegations come up with a statement that Ukraine is agree to US's proposal for 30 days ceasefire. So Ukraine is ready to accept the US proposal for 30 days ceasefire. This is stated in a joint statement of Ukraine and the United States delegations following the talks in Jeddah, the text of which is published on the website of Vladimir Zelensky. And dear friends, when I hear this news, first what came to mind was that I was correct. I was correct from very beginning when I was saying that Western ruling class may come up with some initiatives that they know Russia couldn't accept, and after that they will start justifying next phase of escalation. And I think exactly that has happened. US and EU was playing this good cop, bad cop kind of games with Russia. It was obvious, and that's why I was skeptical about Trump and his team as honesty. I was questioning how genuine they are when they talk about ending of their hostilities. And after all, dear friends, who appointed US as a sort of mediator in this conflict? US is a side of this conflict, right? US is the most involved country in this proxy war after Ukraine. And therefore, I find it difficult to understand why now US leadership is acting if they are some sort of mediators. They are not mediators. They are part of this conflict. right? But yet again, now we are facing the reality when my prediction clearly become true, and Western ruling class, their puppets in governments of US and European states will start pushing this narrative that you see, Ukraine is agree on a ceasefire, Ukraine wants the escalation, but it's Russia that is against it, and therefore we have to go ahead with the next phase of escalation, and they will try to demonize Russia again and again, and they will try to justify this next phase of escalation, which is going to be, in my personal opinion, attempt to transform this terrorist regime of Zelensky into a nuclear-armed regime. And the second direction will be deployment of NATO troops on Kiev-controlled territory. These two directions most likely will take place in upcoming weeks. But yet again, if I was reading the big picture, and if these developments didn't came as a surprise to me, I guess Russian leadership was also considering such possibilities, such scenarios, and hopefully they are ready to react appropriately to these developments, and all the necessary measures will be taken to make sure that Russian citizens are safe and secure. Russia is safe and secure. Hopefully Moscow, as Russian leadership said previously, will not allow in any circumstances transformation of this Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky into a nuclear-armed regime. And Russian leadership also was very clear about deployment of NATO troops into Ukraine. Lavrov once again stated that deployment of NATO troops under whatever pretext is absolutely unacceptable for Russia. So hopefully Moscow is ready to respond to this provocation on part of Western ruling class and their puppets that are trying to set up some sort of trap for Russia. Meanwhile, more reports are coming in regards to this development. For example, TASS news agency is reporting that United States hopes for an early ceasefire in Ukraine. This was stated by Rubio. So United States looks forward to an early ceasefire in Ukraine and transition to negotiations to resolve the conflict. This was stated at a press conference by Secretary of the State Marco Rubio. Bias, by the way, obviously Rubio cannot be trusted or respected by any decent human being, I believe. This is clearly criminal and ally of the terrorists, 100%, and the mass murderers. But yet again, they are trying to set up trap, isn't it? They are trying to set up trap that I predicted they will do over months ago, right? And hopefully Moscow is ready for this scenario. Also, Trump stated yesterday, after this 9-hour clown show ended in Jeddah, that was played by this delegation of US and Kiev regime, that Russian and US delegations will meet soon. He mentioned 11th and 12th of March. Yesterday there was no meetings between Russian and US delegations. Maybe today will, some meeting will take place, although I doubt that this will happen. And also Trump stated that he will have a phone conversation with the Russian president. US President Donald Trump said on Tuesday he would likely hold a phone talk with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin this week, expressing hope Moscow would agree to a proposed 30-day ceasefire with Ukraine. I mean, how cheap these people really are. They know Russia cannot agree on that, and they know Russian position for a long time now. Russian President Vladimir Putin was very clear in 2024 when he met leadership of foreign ministry, for example, that Russia will only consider ceasefire if Kiev regime will withdraw forces from new Russian regions. Kherson region, Zaporozhye region, DPR and LPR. Also, if Kiev regime will accept a number of other steps so that or demands from Russian side so that ground will be created for meaningful talks. Russian president was very clear on that. So Trump cannot say, or anybody from his team, that they don't know what Russian position is. When they come up with this idea of 30-day ceasefire, they are clearly participating now in this game of the Western ruling class to set up sort of a trap for Russia. And that's why I guess all the skeptics were correct that were questioning how truthful Trump was when he was, and his inner circle was, when they were talking about de-escalation with Russia. They were lying, by the way. They were just lying. As simple as that. Unfortunately, they confirmed while saying that Russia should agree on this 30-day ceasefire, while they know Russia cannot do it, they are clearly demonstrating that they were lying all this time. And National Security Advisor of Trump, Mike Waltz, also made a statement that he will have a conversation with the Russian officials. Okay, what difference does it make? I don't know, but I'm quite sure when today Russian officials will react, and I'm quite sure there will be some statements from Russia, from Russian leadership, when they will react on this proposal from US. Most likely they will say, you know what, you knew our position, and nothing has changed in this regard. So obviously, most likely, by the way, in my personal opinion, Moscow will reject this nonsensical, absolutely nonsensical initiative of Trump and his team, because we all understand if Russia would agree on 30-day or 20-day or whatever day ceasefire, NATO, Western ruling class, will use this time to reorganize, regroup, rearm their proxies in so-called Ukraine, right? To deliver more weapons, more munition. We all know this, right? So why would Moscow even consider to change its already known stand on the issue of ceasefire? Russian president said if Kiev regime will withdraw forces from new Russian regions, and if Kiev regime will accept some other necessary requirements, then good enough ground will be created for meaningful talks. But before that, no thanks. And I'm quite sure we're gonna see exactly that kind of response from a Russian side now too. Meanwhile, by the way, of course, everybody in the collective West was happy to demonstrate their support for this trap that Trump and his team kind of set up for Russia with this 30-day ceasefire idea. Macron on one hand, British leadership on the other hand, bureaucrats in Brussels also, they all applaud to this initiative, and the leadership in all the other countries in the collective West, Germany and the rest of it, understandably so, by the way, because these are all puppets, isn't it? True decision makers that I call Western ruling class, they knew for a very long time what kind of game they gonna play, and obviously they ordered these puppets to applaud now this absolutely nonsensical for Russia initiative from US. There will be no ceasefires, by the way, until our enemies of Russia will agree on terms that Russian president already made it clear. You withdraw your forces from new Russian regions, you will accept certain conditions that are absolutely necessary, after that, and then we might talk about ceasefire, and we may start negotiations. Not before that, and I don't think really. I mean, I don't think Russian president has changed his mind or his stand on this issue. And in any ways, we will find out soon. Maybe Russian president will comment on this topic today. For now, by the way, we only have statement from Zakharova, official representative of Russian Foreign Ministry. A Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman, Maria Zakharova, called on Saudi Arabia. I mean, this translation is absolutely too bad, man. Let me use Google's translation, by the way, to be more precise. Just a sec, dear friends. So, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova, against the backdrop of US-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia, urged to follow the news not from there, but from Moscow, where the Russian position is being formed there. And then, quote here, the main news for us will come from here, from Russia. She said on Sputnik Radio, commenting on the results of the talks between US and the Ukrainian delegations. The formation of the Russian Federation's positions does not occur abroad due to some agreements or efforts of some parties. The formation of Russian Federation's positions occurs within the Russian Federation. This is the only reaction that we have for now from Russian officials. But during the day, I'm quite sure some additional statements will be made, potentially by even Russian president. But in any ways, at least the press spokesman of the Russian president, Dmitry Peskov, will most likely comment on this matter. Let me check right now some main news agencies if they have any comment from high-ranking officials. No comment on topic of ceasefire for now, but well, this is latest news that was published by TASS news agency, that head of Russia's foreign intelligence service, Sergei Narishkin, had a phone conversation with the head of Central Intelligence Agency of US, John Radcliffe, and they agree to hold regular contacts. This is stated in a press release of the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, which is based on the results of the phone conversation between the two that took place on 11th of March. So yesterday, head of Russian Foreign Intelligence Service and CIA had a conversation, and they agreed to maintain some sort of regular communication. Okay, it's necessary. It's necessary, of course. But as I already reported, by the way, Trump stated yesterday that he will have a phone conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin, possibly this week. And then Russian Telegram channels reported that one of the journalists from presidential pool shared information on his social platform, one of the social platforms, that such a phone conversation between Trump and Putin might take place on Friday, and it might be not just ordinary phone conversation, but something bigger. Well, I don't know, dear friends. Why would Russian president spoke to Trump right now when it is clear that Western ruling class and their puppets in the governments of collective West, including in the government of US, are setting up yet another trap for Russia? Why would Putin spend time talking to Trump that is playing active role in this setup of the trap. I mean, why you spend time to talk to him? I don't get it, by the way. I understand that there have to be some lines of communication between their sides through intelligence services or through diplomatic services, but me personally, I'm against the Russian president who spoke to Trump. Really. It's, I mean, Trump demonstrated that he was lying, by the way, right? He already demonstrated that he was lying. He was not genuine. He demonstrated that he is actually playing role to set up the trap against Russia. And when all of this is clear, why should Russian president spend time talking with such a person? I don't know. I'm against it, but yet again, nobody asks my opinion on that matter, isn't it? Definitely not the Kremlin. So I don't know. Maybe this Friday there will be some conversation between Trump and Putin. But why? I don't know. Hello everyone. If you find this video interesting and useful, please click that like button, leave some commentary and share with your friends. If you like my work and want to support this project, you can do it through several means. All the links are on this video in the description box and in the pinned comment, including links to my Patreon and Boosty pages, where you can have access to full shows in case you are interested. Thank you.